Hello everybody. Tonight we are going to talk about how to use passé composé and imparfait in a story about a trip that you took. We use the passé composé to talk about things that happened. We bought tickets, we got on the plane, we found our luggage, we rented a car, we camped, we woke up in the morning, we drank coffee. The imparfait, on the other hand, is used to provide description, to talk about what it was like, how you were feeling, what was going on. For example, we were still sleepy when the sun came up. There were mosquitoes inside the tent. The air was crisp. It was chilly. So we balance the two, we juggle the two in any kind of a story we tell. Consider these. We ordered a salad versus we were eating a salad. We ordered a salad answers a question, what happened? We were eating a salad would answer the question, what was happening? You watched a movie on Saturday versus you were watching a movie on Saturday. It started to rain versus it was raining. What happened? It started to rain versus why was the game canceled? It was raining. So let's start with vouloir as an example. We often use vouloir with another verb. Je veux manger. Nous voulons voyager. So I want to eat. We want to travel. Let's use vouloir to learn how to form the imparfait. We chop off the O and S and the nous, and we're left with the stem for the imparfait. Then we add the imparfait endings that sound like this. Ion, ye, et. So this is what it would look like. Je voulais, tu voulais, il voulait, elle voulait, nous voulions, vous vouliez, il voulait, elle voulait. Let's do it with avoir. So we're going to take the new form of the present tense, nous avons. We chop off the O and S, and we end up with this stem of. J'avais, nous avions. Now let's look at être. Now guess what? This one's irregular. That is your irregular imparfait stem for être. J'étais, nous étions. Now let's look at faire. This one's regular. Nous faisons. Chop off the O and S, and you end up with fait. Je faisais, nous faisions. So look at the difference between nous faisons and nous faisions. That I right there makes the difference. Let's go back to être. Let's see how we might use être in the imparfait. Nous étions en retard. Le musée était fermé. Le dîner était délicieux. In none of these situations are we talking about what happened. We're giving description or talking about conditions. Now let's look at faire. How might we use faire with the imparfait? Let's stop and think of some idiomatic expressions with the verb faire. So we have the imparfait of faire. So we have je faisais, nous faisions. Expressions with faire, let's take these two. Il fait du soleil, il fait du vent. In the imparfait, we have il faisait du soleil, il faisait du vent. When we're describing something in the past, for example, weather, we use the imparfait. Now let's look at avoir again. So j'avais, nous avions. Think about il y a. The a in il y a comes from the verb avoir. So if I say il y a des animaux, it means there are animals. Think about how would we put that in the imparfait? How would we say there were animals? So before we do that, let's stop and think about expressions that use avoir. Write them down. J'ai 15 ans versus the English form, I am 15. J'ai 15 ans uses the verb avoir, whereas in English we use the verb être to say I am 15. Here's a list write some down. So, how would we use avoir in the imparfait? In the present tense, j'ai faim, I am hungry. We could say j'avais faim. Il a hâte, il avait hâte. So you could say il avait hâte de manger. He was excited to eat. Nous avons besoin de partir. Nous avions besoin de partir. Now we have il y a des animaux. Il y avait des animaux. So here's some example sentences that you could use when writing about a trip. Nous voulions voir l'Italie. Nous avons commencé avec Rome. So we wanted to see Italy. That is a condition you were describing. We started with Rome. What happened? We started with Rome. J'avais envie de découvrir l'Australie. I wanted to discover Australia. That is the imparfait because we're describing my state of mind. Je suis allée à Sydney. I went to Sydney. What happened? I went to Sydney. That's a passé composé. Il était trop fatigué. There should be an accent right here. Sorry. Il était trop fatigué. He was too tired. That is description. That's imparfait. Nous sommes rentrés. We came home. That's a passé composé. What happened? La fin. Merci.